Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you opportunity has given to me. My name is Siti Rasale. I'm from English Education C 2018 University of Sulawesi Barat. Okay, now I want to explain my research proposal. The title Improve Student Reading Course using the Google Flybook application. Next, chapter 1, the first background. Reading is an activity in the form of reading or spelling a phase of writing. According to UNews, which means the reading is a reading activity in order to obtain information conveyed in reading material. Reading products are the result of the reading process, namely the understanding of the reading content. 2012 148. The main purpose of reading is as a means of obtaining accurate information from a text. What the information obtained is what will affect the quality of life of the reader. To get information, the reader must be able to understand what the reading is and understand the meaning of the reading, so that the reader must be diligent in reading a text. Okay, next slide, problem identification. There are two. Number 1, how can you increase reading interest in class 2 senior high school? Number 2, Campalagian student. The second, how is the use of the Google Flybook application in improving the reading of students in class 2 senior high school number 2 Campalagian? Next slide, research focus. Measuring the extent to which grade 2 senior high school number 2 student understanding is part of learning reading. Okay, next slide, research objective. The purpose of this study was to increase reading interest and achievement using the Google Flybook application in class 2 senior high school number 2 Campalagian student. Okay, next slide, research benefits. For students find it easier to increase interest in learning and achievement in reading learning, and students feel less bored in learning because there are applications that can be used during learning. For teachers, to make it easier to provide reading learning to students and teachers, it is also easier to provide explanation. Okay, next slide, about chapter 2, review of related literature. The first reviews related findings. Number 1, Ruth Damayanti in his research, the use of digital book to increase reading interest at senior high school number 1 Telegram. The purpose of this study is to provide explanation for using digital books to increase student reading interest. The results showed that the strategies used by the teacher in the teaching and learning process in the study using a qualitative approach with observational methods. Okay, next, the second, Magdalena Elendiana in her research entitled of efforts to increase reading interest in elementary school students. The purpose of this research is to find alternative efforts to increase the reading interest of students, especially among elementary schools. The method in this research is quantitative by finding data in the form of writing. The results of this study were to increase student reading interest related to the framework of action or AIDA: attention, interest, desire, and action. And the three, Ahmed Girsa, Aryandika, and Dina Kartikawati, in their research entitled Effective Methods of Teaching Reading, a Case Study. The purpose of this research is to find out what methods are used in teaching reading of late by English teachers in grade 10 and how these methods are used in teaching reading. In the study, qualitative methods were used and data collection was carried out through observation, interviews, and self-research. Okay, next slide about theoretical framework. Number 1, reading. A definition of reading. Reading is the best habit that must be done by students to gain knowledge of their information and science. According to law for Garcia Madruga et al. 2013, large automatic vocabulary recognition is needed to interpret the global meaning of textbooks. The purpose of reading is to get explicit message, implicit message, and general information from the printed page. Thinking facts and the information it has will recognize what to make good conclusion and read critically and critically to understand metaphors. Rigid language sets goal of what is ideas written by the author and such ideas under the right circumstance. The second, application. A. Understanding learning application. The learning application is a set that can be accessed using a cell phone or computer which can be accessed at any time. According to Giugianto 2001, the application is an application storing things, data, problems, work into a facility or media that can be used to apply or implement existing things or problems. B. Advantage of learning application. The advantage of the learning application is that it makes it easier for students to read anywhere and anytime. The use of learning application will certainly get a variety of new and more creative teaching and learning process methods. With the help of implementing these new methods, students will also easily feel bored during lesson in class. C. The advantages and disadvantages of learning application. There are many advantages and disadvantages of learning applications such as: number 1, disadvantage. A. Make it easier for students to find reading books. B. Make it easier for teachers to provide reading to their students. C. Easy to access. D. More flexible study time. The second disadvantage. A. Limited access to the internet. B. Reduced direct interaction between teacher and student. C. Lack of supervising learning. D. Teaching reading on the Google Playbook application. The Google Playbook application is an application that is effectively used by teachers into classrooms, especially during the COVID pandemic. Teaching reading using this application is one way to reduce students when learning, especially when learning to read in English. The use of this application is very good in increasing student interest in reading. Teachers can easily provide reading with this application because it only tells students to log into this application and look for books to read. Slides about hypothesis. The hypothesis is an assumption or prediction about something that often demands to do the investigation. Sajjana 2005. The hypotheses are as follows. Number 1. Alternative hypothesis. There is a significant influence between the use of Google Playbook technique and student achievement in writing described text. Google Playbook technique can improve writing ability at first grade student of senior high school number 2 Campalagian. The second, no hypothesis. There is no significant influence between the use of Google Playbook technique and student achievement in writing descriptive text. Google Playbook technique cannot improve writing ability at first grade student of senior high school number 2 Campalagian. Next slide, chapter 3, research method. A. Research design. This research prioritizes quantitative research methods, especially in quasi-experimental design. The population of this study in class 2 at the senior high school number 2 Campalagian focus on the science class. According to Sugiono 2013, quantitative research method can be interpreted as a research method based on the philosophy of positivism. It is used to research on a specific population or sampling technique and generally carried out randomly using data collection, research instrument, data analysis in quantitative or statistical to test the hypothesis that has been set. B. Place and time. Number 1. Place. This research is focused on class 2 senior high school 2 Campalagian, which is located in the village of Katumbangam, Pulau Mandar District, West Sulawesi Province. 2. Time. The implementation time of this research began in September, which was adjusted to the schedule of English subject in class 2 senior high school 2 Campalagian. C. Population and sample. 1. Population. According to Sugiono 2013, 349 defines population as a region generation consisting of object or subject that have clearly and certain characteristics set by the research for study and later draw conclusion. The study focused on high school students 2 Campalagian. The population of this study were all 2 graders in senior high school 2 Campalagian. Total population 153 students from 3 classes. 2. Sample. According to Arikunto 2006, 131, the sample is part or as a representative of the population-based study. In 3 classes, the study chose to focus on grade 2 of senior high school 2 Campalagian as the research sample. From the 3 classes, the population sample was taken by culture sampling the science second grade 16 students, the experimental group, and the science second grade as the research sample group. The research instrument. 1. Text. Collecting research data about the level of student achievement using text instrument. According to Jemari 2008, 67, the test is one way to estimate the size of a person's ability indirectly or question. The instrument in this study used the Google Playbook application to improve student ability in reading learning. The test was used with a free test and false test approach. The free test is intended to determine the student's prior knowledge in reading, while the false test is given to see student achievement and given treatment. The research also analyzed the textbooks used by the teacher as a reference. Documentation. Besides use those main instruments, the research also used supplementary instruments. They support to the research to get more complete data. The last is technique of data analysis. Analyze data from observation, provide tests and documentation by using steps related to the procedure for analyzing quantitative research data. In the study, the research used a statistical product and survey solution, which we usually know as SPSS, which is one of the important software for managing and analyzing data. Descriptive analysis uses the result of the mean and standard deviation according to Hack and Fardy 1982-39, which states the descriptive analysis is a statistic used to summarize data. Okay, I think enough for me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.